Hello, I'm Lucy from Bookshanks, and I'm here today with what I fear might be the most chaotic review, possibly, that I've ever done. I can just see it coming. If you're new to this channel, I promise they're not all quite as chaotic as this is going to be, so please do subscribe and stick around and have a chat. So, we're going to talk about this one, The Leviathan by Rosie Andrews, and genuinely, I don't know where this review is going to go. So if you have read it, please talk to me, because I have so many thoughts and I'm not entirely sure what they all mean. So this one, actually, if you watched our TBR video, I need to take a breath. If you watched our TBR video, you will have seen that actually Scott bought this book for himself and I stole it. Basically just because it's got a really sexy cover. Look at that. Oh God, it's such a good cover. So I stole it, and I'm really glad that I did. Partly because it was a good read and I liked it, but also partly because he would not have liked it. He would not have liked it at all. It is not his type of book, because it is on what I would describe as the literary end of the literary spectrum. And I'll talk about that in a minute, because that's where all my thoughts are. The majority of my thoughts. But first I'll tell you what it's about. So it is a historical novel set against the backdrop of the English Civil War. So like 1650-ish. And actually it jumps between actually it's 1640-ish and like 1700. And it's all through the perspective of Thomas Treadwell. And when we see him in 1640-ish, he is just returning from being a soldier on the front line of the English Civil War, and he returns to his family's farm to find his father on his deathbed and his sister claiming that the housemaid is a witch. So that bit of the narrative sort of like is following what happens, and there's loads of strange goings on and sort of unraveling this is she, isn't she a witch scenario. When we're in like 1700-ish, Thomas is an old man, and as per the lovely sprayed edges, she is awake. There is something in his house that he has been keeping prisoner, captive, sort of, you know, restrained in some way, and now she's awake. So we're following the narrative between like what happened when there was allegedly a witch, and what they did about it, and 60 years later what has awoken and what they're going to do about it then. So it's flipping between these two times and these two sort of like what's going to happen scenario, and that is the story. That is what happens on the page in this book. That is what keeps you turning, what keeps you turning the pages, getting you from A to B. However, and actually I should say before I say the however, that was a lead in, wasn't it? So, and actually it's quite good. I quite like that. It took a little bit of time to get out of first gear, but not too long, and it did get increasingly satisfying, like story-wise. And the language is really beautiful. It's like pretty cinematic actually in places, especially at the finale. Oh my goodness, it's like really vivid imagery, really cinematic, really enjoyable language. But yeah, literary thinking person's language, I guess, type of, you know what I mean, it's posh words. So that was the story. That is what happened in the book. But there was a however, wasn't there? I led you on with the however. This is where it starts to get complicated, because that's what happened, but I really struggled with understanding why. Like, what is this book about? That's what happened. What's it about? What are the themes? What's the point? Where's the point of this book? What are you trying to tell me, Rosie Andrews? My brain was kind of blown. And this is where the chaos starts, okay? Because I've pondered this a lot, like way more than is a healthy amount to ponder what a book is trying to tell me. And do you know what? I'm not even sure that I've got it now. I don't know if I've got it out, but I'm going to walk you through my hypothesis, and I might be about to hideously embarrass myself because it's totally wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if you've read it, please tell me whether I'm even vaguely on the right track, whether you've got this. Does this make sense? Anyway, right, I'm going to go through it. So, the Leviathan. This book is called The Leviathan. Now, right, a Leviathan is a biblical sea monster. I'm telling you this not because I think you don't know it, because I feel like I need to walk you through step by step to take you on this journey with me. Leviathan, biblical sea monster. Okay, it's also a book written by Thomas Hobbes, political philosopher from around the time when this is set. Now, believe it or not, I did a politics and philosophy degree a really long time ago. Please don't judge me. I know it's of no value to society whatsoever. But yeah, I did it a really long time ago, and I didn't really like it very much. So this really tested the boundaries of my memory and knowledge. But Thomas Hobbes wrote The Leviathan. Now, his argument in The Leviathan was that the natural state of man is like warlike. We love a bit of war, basically. So the natural state, if we're left to our own devices, would be to revert to war. No one likes each other. Masses of fighting. I think he called like the natural state of man like nasty, brutish and short. That's what our lives would be like under Thomas Hobbes if we succumbed to our nature. And therefore, we need strong government. There's a point to this, bear with me. We need strong government. By consent, you know, we agree to this strong government. It's not a dictatorship, but we do need to be told what to do. Because otherwise, all that war. Remember, set against the backdrop of the English Civil War. I'm trying to link it back to the book, bear with me. So, he also says, so he uses this metaphor. Oh God, does this make any sense? Right, so the Leviathan in his book, this biblical sea monster, is a metaphor for like the collective will of the people in this government, okay? So, if we're left to our own devices, we cause war. We therefore need strong government. There's a metaphor about that in the form of a Leviathan. Right, that was point one. Point two, this book also has John Milton in it. Like the real life John Milton, fictionalized. John Milton, poet, again, around the same time, who wrote like the epic poem Paradise Lost. It's like 10,000 lines long or something like that. I have never read it. Honestly, I'm never going to read it. Usually I try and be fairly nice about, you know, I don't want to offend anyone's feelings, but I mean, he's been dead 400 years, so I feel pretty safe to say I'm not going to read Paradise Lost. God, 400 years ago, 10,000 lines doesn't sound fun. Anyway, it's about, I believe, man's first disobedience. So like the fall of man, when we succumbed to our human nature, Adam and Eve, temptation, getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden, snakes, stuff like that. That is what his poem is about. I do not know enough to know whether... Oh, is anyone still watching this? Oh, God. I don't know enough to know whether John Milton's political philosophy aligned with Thomas Hobbes's political philosophy. Also, should say, main character in this, Thomas. That's not a coincidence. I know it's not. So, those things are clearly there on purpose. Thomas Hobbes, Leviathan, John Milton, actual person in the book, biblical sea monster. And yet, still, what is it trying to tell me? I know it's trying to tell me something. Is it trying to tell me that we are going to, our natural state is warlike and that we're all complete monsters? Is it trying to tell me that we need to be controlled? Is it trying to tell me actually we need to, you know, rise above nature and take responsibility for our actions? Frankly, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like it's in there somewhere. It's just beyond my reach and I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to tell me. So if you know what it's trying to tell me, please come and tell me. Anyway, so I guess actually you want to know whether to read this book or not, do you? Okay, how do I summarise it? So, did I enjoy this book? Yes, mostly. Did it make my brain dribble out my ears? Also, yes. It definitely did. Should you read this book? Well, if you have a sounder grasp of British political, philosophical history and poetry relating to the Bible than I think this might be up your street. Also, if you just are up for a good story, very well written about witchcraft in a historical setting, and you don't care about the deeper meaning, also, it's not a bad read. If you don't like thinking too hard and really want to know what the deeper meaning is, it might not be for you. But, do you know what? Actually, Melmoth. If you liked Melmoth by Sarah Perry, I think that you would like this. It's that kind of ballpark going on. And actually about halfway through I stopped and I looked at the back because I was like, there must be a Sarah Perry quote on the back of there, and there isn't. And they missed a trick there because she's got her name all over it. But anyway, I think there will be people that will absolutely love the depths of this book, because there are clearly so many depths and clearly so many that actually went straight over my head. But you can read with all books, you read them on the level that you're at, don't you? And I know, I know some people are going to go absolutely nuts over this, and it's, because it's such a thinking person's book, it's a smart person's book. And, I don't pretend that I understood all of it, but I did enjoy it for what it was. And bottom line is, it's still got a sodding great cover, hasn't it? So, worth picking up. And I'm sorry, that just sounded like utter chaos, that review. But anyway, please talk to me in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of it, whether you're planning to pick it up and what you're reading this week. And thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.